Down the Lens Podcast. Down the Lens Podcast.
No, I just think I want to capture moments from a full scale of things: happiness, sadness, everything, and just try and stay true to the values of rugby.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say what club it was, but I had one boy unhook my GoPro in the middle of a game and say, "Is this yours?" And I was like, "Yeah," but put it back up. I thought he was going to run off with it, and there's no way I'm catching him.
But you're reliving you playing through taking photos of other people doing it. Do you know what I mean? That's the thrill. You're getting a turn for taking those photos and videos. Hello everybody, welcome to episode, I think we're on 30 now. I'm sat here with a gentleman I've been following for quite some time now, because he's a big fan of rugby and so am I. The rugby photographer. How are you?
Yeah, good man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. If you want to introduce yourself, your actual name.
Yeah.
Because I had to ask your name first to start off.
Exactly, yeah. I'm Glenn Dene, and known as a rugby photographer.
And how did you get into the whole photography thing? What was the initial background to start with?
Yeah, it was about sort of 8 or 9 years ago, where my ex-wife saw me taking pictures with my mobile phone of the children and everything. And for one birthday, she said, "Right, here's a camera, go out." So I was like, "Love, why have you bought me this?" I wasn't that bothered with it. But the one day, without the kids there and nothing to do, I took the camera out for a walk along the River Usk in Abergavenny.
Oh, yeah.
And that was it, really. I was hooked. I took a few pictures, which were awful.
Were you going landscape to start with?
Oh, yeah, landscape, definitely, yeah. So I took a few pictures, then the next day out with the dog. And then, as you know, living in Abergavenny, you're surrounded by beauty and the landscape. So I just made a point then of every time, whether I was stressed or whether I was just needed, to get away from a chaotic at sometimes, family life, I'm going to go out with a camera. I'm going to walk the hills, take some photos, and then, that was it. It was sort of, when you find out about editing, then it was like oversaturated and everything. So, and I remember giving away a print, on Facebook. And, it's like you get a few likes and you think you're the next big thing. And
check on the local community Facebook page.
Exactly, Abergavenny Voice, and that was it then. So its landscape was definitely my first love. And it just seemed like it was a great time to get into it because of where I lived at the time. And with social media getting bigger all the time. So, landscape was definitely my first love. And as I said, my ex-wife buying me a camera when I didn't really see any point in her doing it, really.
What camera did you start with then?
It was a Canon Power, I can't remember what it was. It was Canon Power something.
Like a quick shoot kind of.
Yeah, just like a, basic camera in auto. But I remember then we sort of, we got to a stage where, financially it was a real struggle. And I sold it to Cash Generator in Eberville.
Right, okay.
And I was like, I'll find some money, love, And I sold it and they give me PowerShot. That was it, a Canon PowerShot. And they gave me like 20 quid for it.
So is that the one with like the actual optical zoom within the camera? It's not hasn't got a changeable
No, that's right.
lens,
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And I sold it for like 20 quid along with sort of 10 or 15 DVDs for like 3 quid. And I didn't have a camera then for a good sort of 3 or 4 months. Then it was my birthday and my ex-wife again bought me a Nikon D5200.
Right, okay.
And which I've still got now. So even though we divorced, two beautiful kids, and I got into photography because of her. Yeah.
And then obviously, so that was 9 years ago. How long were you doing the landscape thing before you kind of moved on to what you're doing now?
Yeah, probably about 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
It was my new love. So whenever you fall in love with something, that's your
addicted
passion.
to it. It's like
You're
a drug.
to it.
Yeah.
So most of my time was taken up with landscape photography and of course work. But 2 or 3 years, and I got to a stage where I started getting bored then. I enjoyed the walks with the dog and everything, but
there's only so much you can take of mountains.
Yeah.
Unless you go traveling and go with the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when you get a new passion again, because you're like, oh my God, this scenery.
Yeah, exactly. And I just sort of, and the more I was getting into photography and a little bit of the history of photography, I just, there's only so many, even though they're beautiful, sunsets and sunrises you can see. So, I love landscape, and sometimes I still go out now and again doing it. But that was, it happened at the right time. It relaxed me. It helped me with my mental health. It was sort of mindfulness and everything. So So, landscape was my first love. And 2 or 3 years. And I thought, right, I want to do something different now and mix it up a bit.
And then what made you make that decision? Obviously, you say you got a bit tiresome of the landscape, but obviously you now moved it more into actually like sport and rugby. What made that decision to kind of focus down that kind of avenue?
Well, first of all, I went into sort of street photography. I loved Mary Ellen Mark, and just a whole range of photographers. But I also like Mark Salinger and stuff like that. So street photography in Abergavenny. But then
There's only so much you can do there.
Exactly, yeah. So then, I started getting into all sorts of different, I'm not very good with names, but self-portraits and stuff.
Right,
to help myself through my mental health at the time, I started doing a load of self-portraits. So then, again, after a while, my mental health was better. I was like, right, if you see me doing self-portraits like this again, I'm not in a good state of mind. So after that, again, with the rugby, it was a couple of photos when I was watching my brother play or something like that. Nothing that good. And then it sort of, the COVID stuff happened.
Yeah.
And after COVID happened, I was like, you know what, I had a lot of opportunities as well. But I was like, I only want to do something I enjoy now.
And what opportunities presented to you for the photography you've done with the landscape stuff or the...
I've had sort of Photon in Cardiff were really, really supportive, and the opportunities were sort of exhibitions and,
nice.
But I was paying for things myself, but it's never been about money or anything that. But lots of opportunities. I had 2 publishing, so I've done a lot of self-publishing stuff.
Right, okay.
2 publishing contracts for the COVID books,
right.
First wave and a second wave. But and then I signed a 3rd publishing contract for sort of Welsh portraits and stuff. But my sort of passion to do things for other people sort of, that was enough for me then. I had enough. So I walked away from the 3rd publishing contract. Luckily, the publisher was just amazing. They're lovely people, and they just said, yeah, we totally understand. So I walked away, and that's when I got into rugby even more then, and sort of thought, right, I'm going to do something I want to do, I want to enjoy. And
so you're a big rugby fan then?
Oh, huge rugby fan.
Have you played before?
Yeah, I played for, I started playing in 98.
Right,
it was after the British Lions tour to South Africa, that documentary. And that just, I played in school and stuff, but I was like, right, once I hit college, I wanted to play rugby. And I played for Crumlin with my brother, which is all I wanted.
I played against them a couple of times.
Yeah, but we were losing sort of 96-0 at the time, And, but it was that whole sort of, that just having, playing rugby with your mates, having a single man, having a drink after, waking up in random places with your mates. And it's just, I don't miss those days as such, but I miss the camaraderie. So,
but at the time it was like...
Yeah, it was brilliant at the time. Yeah, and, it was Crumlin, Pontefraith, and then after so many injuries, I started playing touch rugby in Cardiff.
Right, okay.
Played for Wales touch rugby, which was great. Scored a couple of tries against England, which is nothing better. Lost.
Claim to fame.
Yeah, and then... and I just had to stop playing, just so many injuries, knee surgeries and stuff. But
my knee's blown out from rugby, and I haven't had a chance about 4 years to get back.
Yeah, and when you play, you come back and then get injured, come back, get injured. Broke my nose a couple of times.
Well, it looks still good.
Yeah, still good looking bloke.
Camera
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Especially
like a
from this
boxer's
angle.
nose.
Oh, exactly. So yeah, it was a case of, how can I stay involved with the game? And, that's when the rugby stuff come along.
Yeah, because I'm currently kind of going down that. I would like to go down that avenue. So I know obviously WRU, which is the Welsh Rugby Union, they have like a social content team. Obviously, they're mostly out in France now.
Yeah.
But I think they outsource a lot of their video production to a company based in Cardiff.
Right, okay.
And I know England have got their own specific videographer, I think is full-time, but they obviously get to go like the Lion series, like you said, watching that.
Yeah.
I think as like us maybe being a bit too injured to actually go back into rugby and enjoy it, the only way we can pursue it is through obviously using our cameras.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, I'm only starting to get into videography now, but like, with the photography and stuff, I just love those. You look at the Lions tours gone by, nothing compares for me for the 97 tour to South Africa.
Yeah, okay.
Just the camaraderie and just the, the stuff that went on. And, now it's to have just the opportunity in amateur rugby and semi-professional rugby to just capture moments like that.
Yes.
And, it just...
Well, it's almost like you're reliving you playing through taking photos of other people doing it. Do you know what I mean? That's the thrill. You're getting that thrill in return for taking those photos and videos.
Exactly. And it's sort of, seeing, I try to cover both teams when I cover a game. So I try to get as much content as possible for them. But and I never side with who I want to win. But because I spend time in the changing rooms after the game, having sausage and chips and stuff, you can't beat that after
typical rugby club
exactly.
food.
I feel quite connected to the clubs I sort of do content for as well. So while just enjoying it myself, really.
So who's the main clubs you shoot content for? Because I've seen on your Instagram, you've got Newport's high school boys.
Yeah. So I do a lot with...
You used to have big ructions with them back in the day.
Yeah. Again, I don't think Crumlin scored a point against Newport High School boys back in the day. Do a lot with Newport High School boys. I'm not like 100% committed to one club just because I just like to get around.
Well, there's no point, is there?
No, exactly. And you've got the one club I am actually committed to is Rugby League, which is Jets.
Like a Jets, I've seen that, yeah.
And they just, everything they stand for with mental health and stuff is everything I believe in as well, especially men's mental health. And
so you're a big advocate for that?
Oh, yeah.
Like
and
in general and within the game as well?
Yeah, in general and within the game, yeah. And it's, for me, the Jets, and to see them win the Welsh Conference as well was just amazing. And they're all a great bunch of lads, So with the Jets, Newport High School boys, I try to do as much as possible, but I've worked with Glenn Dene loads.
Well, I've seen, if you go through, obviously, if you check him out on Instagram, it's the rugby photographer.
Yeah.
If you have a scroll through your Instagram, you've pretty much covered all bases, at least within the Gwent region.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I mean, I've got a few opportunities now in West Wales and stuff, and with Swansea University, and at the moment it's costing me a lot in fuel and stuff like that. But I just work an extra shift in work. That's how I feel about it.
So what you do? What's your actual main job?
I work as an operating department practitioner. So not a doctor. My parents think I'm a doctor.
You still let them believe that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. So I work in the Grange and work in theatre. So I work on anaesthetics.
Oh, okay.
So I see that as my hobby though sometimes, and just the rugby stuff is the serious stuff.
Up.
yeah, exactly. But my shifts sort of allow me long day, 12-hour shifts, 3 on. It allows me to have a bit more free time on the weekends.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it is a pure passion, this photography.
Oh yeah. I mean, I used to back in the day. I used to think, you know what, I'll do wedding photography, and I love a buffet. Like,
I
go
me
mad
and
for
you
a buffet.
both.
Yeah. And I was just like, I love the day, but I didn't enjoy sort of the hours of editing after.
And the high pressure environment.
Exactly, yeah.
So at least the rugby game is done within 80 minutes.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Get a couple of shots after, everyone having a pint together.
Yeah,
like,
as I said, the food after, which is great. But yeah, so I've sort of dabbled in everything, really.
Right,
but I feel like now I'm just settled in, and I might never work any higher than semi-professional. Don't matter to me.
Within taking photos for semi-professional clubs?
Yeah. It doesn't matter to me. I've been lucky to do some stuff with the Dragons. It was more who you know rather than them asking me.
But that's what you need sometimes to get your foot through the door.
Yeah, exactly. And they've shared a lot of my stuff. And when I went to their open training session, there was some of the pictures that I give to Tane Basham, for example, that they put them on the walls and that.
Nice,
so this is for the first time really in my life. This is, except for sport I've played before.
Yeah.
This is just a passion. It doesn't matter about money. It doesn't matter about if I get a new GoPro or something, it's like Christmas. So yeah, this is the first thing where I don't care about anything else. I just care about getting the content for the individual players and the clubs.
Has it helped you open up doors to maybe have a potential career from it? Would you look to go down that avenue if it opened up? I'd
like to go part-time eventually.
Yeah.
I have built links up now, quite lucky through the Dragons and all that, with individual players.
From just networking and just putting yourself out there, because I think that's a great tip for anyone trying to get into any kind of industry.
And you shouldn't be worried about doing certain things for free either, because like I've photographed sort of some amazing people and for free. And, you know, I know this thing about do it for exposure and all that, you know, but for me, like I photographed Michael Sheen on in Port Talbot. And
was that for a particular?
That was for the National Autistic Society. I was doing an awareness project.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, can I take some headshots? Yeah, not a problem. The tide came in and soaked his jacket.
Oh, he was on the beach, was he?
Yeah, soaked his jacket. And yeah, but you know, it's like I got that by doing things for free.
Yeah. So how did you get invited on that? Was that a shoot you got invited on, or you just happened to be there?
No. So my my youngest kid, Anira, is autistic.
Right. Okay.
So at the time, it was me trying to understand autism, because I was in total denial.
Yeah.
It was me trying to understand autism. It was for a project called Magpie. So it was 10 kids who was on the spectrum, and you know, I photographed them, told their story a bit, told their parents' story, and then I got a few sort of celebrities sort of holding up statistics, and you know, because at the time, even one-to-one teaching in school was it wasn't good. You know?
Hadn't come up to date.
No,
with
exactly.
Like, the needs of individuals.
So you know, that enabled me to raise awareness, but I'm still friends with the parents of kids with autism as well, and it taught me a lot. So, but I was able then to say to sort of Michael Sheen, can I take a couple of headshots? If you don't ask, you don't get, you know.
You shoot your shot.
Exactly. But they were in Emmy magazine, you know, the Emmy Awards and all that.
Yeah.
He used them in that. He used them in all sorts of different things.
Amazing.
So, you know, I've been really lucky. You know, I did the Ridian, remember Ridian X Factor?
Oh yeah, blonde-haired guy.
Yeah.
White as a ghost.
That's it. Yeah. I did his album front cover.
Oh, nice.
Which was great. I think he was expecting a big production though. You know, there's a buffet over there, Ridian. You know.
Yeah.
It was just me and my friend holding a light post night shift.
Oh, I bet.
And it was hammering
his
down
X
rain.
Factor days have come down.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and you know, I ended up picking him up in this battered old car, and he wasn't happy because his stylist couldn't come. I was this is not a big production, really. You know, but so a lot of the stuff, you know, you can do things for free, but it opens up so many doors then further down the line. So
because obviously it sounds like you've got yourself a very good job. So this photography stuff it is a hobby. So anything that you can get, you know, invited to or become part of, it's just a plus for you.
Well, it's like the big rugby swim with Alex Popham, ex Rugby League and Rugby Union players. So you could see me in the background of the Sky Sports documentary for it, you know.
Is that the recent video that I commented on?
That's right, yeah.
Are you part of that, or were you invited on to take photos?
Well, I didn't swim it. You know, I'm still carrying a bit of baby.
So if you set the scene for anyone listening who haven't come across it, just tell them what it's about, and obviously...
Yeah, so it's called a Rugby Concussion, Turning the Tide, and we started in January. And I work with Alex, again, doing stuff for free, wanted to work with Head for Change, a charity Alex and Mel put together.
And Alex Popham,
ex-Wales International, played for the Scarlets, Brive in France. And by doing some things, covering some charity events, Alex said to me, look, we're going to swim the channel. Training starts in January. And I went, okay, fine. So they had 3 or 4 training weekends, which I was part of, taking pictures, doing a bit of video, but mainly on
the side, just to have a little dabble.
Exactly, and doing reels and stuff. And then before you know it, I'm working with Carl Heyman, ex-New Zealand prop, Ryan Jones.
So are these all individuals that have suffered
they were supporting
the
game? Ryan Jones, Carl Heyman.
Okay.
You also had some of the Rugby League boys, Craig Chalmers.
Well, they put some bloody
Dennis
bigots in, don't they? Sometimes I have the reels come up from like Australia, like the Rabbits playing whoever.
Yeah.
And like you see all the Burgess brothers they just smashing it up. It's ridiculous.
The thing, and you've got people like, you know, Ian Goff, Matty Dwyer. So again, it's that rugby sort of camaraderie.
Yeah.
They've swam the channel now a few days ago. They completed it. Rugby League against Union.
Bristol or British English channel, sorry?
Sorry, the English channel.
English channel.
Yeah, and
the big one.
The big one, yeah.
Is it like how long is it? 15 mile, 30 miles?
I think it's 20 odd miles. I'll have to check that.
I was just in the middle then.
But it's it's a good guess in fairness. But they've done that, and the plan was I was going to go, and I wasn't on the boat because Sky Sports were on there, and they were great to work with.
Yeah.
But the only thing was, like, I get really bad seasickness. I went on the boat in Tenby when they were swimming, and I was being sick over the side. Yeah, and I was being sick over the side. I was sweating. I was lying on the boat. So I wasn't on the boat. But I said to Mel, Alex Popham's wife, take as many photos as possible.
Here's my camera. Go.
Yeah, there you go. Go and do it. But they completed it, and it's huge as well because it will provide money for educational purposes. But also, you've seen the tackle laws now.
Yeah, they're changing.
Yeah, they've come down. Year. And yeah, people don't like change. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing better than a big hit. But, you don't want to see that player, in a few years' time suffering with an early onset dementia or any other sort of brain injury. So yeah, that was a huge part. Oh, it's brilliant. That was a huge part. And it's probably one of the most, it's the most amazing thing I've been involved with. Yeah. Just seeing what those guys have gone through to, for a
So how was it to work with the Sky crew? Was it the first time you've been part of like a production that kind of size? Talk me through that.
So there was 3 or 4 members of the Sky team, and every now and again they were sort of, if you could just go back a little bit, but they were amazing.
You're like an eager beaver, just front line.
Yeah, I was there. They were amazing. Like, I was expecting them to be quite firm with me and just get out of the way, But they were incredible. Ben Ransom, who's the who put it all together, with Mickey Edwards and Alex, just amazing. You were treated as part of the team.
Oh, lovely.
They used my images on, Sky Sports, their website, their news, and it was a bit daunting at first because they come in with these huge cameras, massive lights.
Oh yeah, like full on.
Yeah,
production.
And I'm here with a 50mm lens, and a Nikon D50-200. I was like, but yeah, it was a full production. Not once did they get on my back. We had great. I can't say enough good things for them. I'm sure other people have sort of different experiences, but they were just amazing. They used some of my footage as well. But I got my little drone out. And
what drone were you using?
DJI, I think it is.
Is it like a mini or?
Yeah, mini. So it's 249 grams.
Yeah,
and I got that out, and I thought I was, I thought I was amazing,
What
and
did
then they got
bring
this
out?
huge drone out where you could probably sit on,
Was it the ones you can actually physically mount a camera to it, or was it like a fixed camera body?
Yeah, it was huge. It was
proper.
And I was like, okay, so it was the equivalent of a photographer in rugby next to you. You get your lens or like that, and he just goes bang.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But they were amazing, absolutely amazing.
I guess the good thing about that is because now you've had a good repetition with Sky, potentially, when they go and do like...
When they do the next Lines tour.
Yes,
that'd be great.
that's why I was getting to.
Actually,
we know a good photographer who can come along and then you'd be like, sign me up.
Yeah, that's it, and I'll just call in sick to work,
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But yeah, it's they've just been, they were amazing, and as I said, they called me after and thanked me and stuff, and it's just brilliant.
Now obviously you got those contact details.
Yeah.
So when's the next Lions series?
Next year or 2 years? 25, isn't it?
Next year, sorry, it's 23 now, isn't it?
Yeah,
right,
I think it's 2025. Yeah.
So then all you got to do 9 months prior or a year prior.
Yeah.
Send that message.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Be like,
yeah.
Do you need someone to come along and document behind the scenes?
It would be amazing. I've seen some of the pictures from the Lions as well, and just the emotion in it, which is something I always try to capture after COVID and stuff. Is the emotion, just incredible, and yeah, they can sign me up. I'll come and do it for free. I'm happy.
So yeah, when you're shooting your photos, what are you looking for? What's your composition? Talk me through.
I think for me, it's like, because of the COVID stuff as well, it's got to be emotion. There's got to be something in there, or as a story,
like a feeling. You can almost
there's got to be a feeling. So, whether that's happy that you've won or you're angry or whatever,
screaming because you've dropped the ball.
Exactly, and I just like to sort of represent everything good about rugby. Like we said earlier on, camaraderie. There's and that. Even when they call the referee sir and stuff like that,
yes,
they got so much
don't get
respect.
that in football.
You don't get that at all, especially like back in the day with Roy Keane and stuff, But yeah, I try to I try to capture something that's different. It's not always possible.
No.
But what I've learned as well is, for me, the interesting stuff happens before the match and after the match.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a picture of Gareth Anscombe. His wife was handed him the baby after the Dragons game against Ospreys.
I scrolled through one of your, what they call it, like, not like a reel, but...
Yeah, like a slideshow of photos.
Then you had one of a number 12 from Abergavenny, James. I know him.
Yeah.
His maybe dad was pushing the buggy and his wife was there. And then you had another one of Gareth Anscombe. Yeah.
And that's one thing I was surprised at when I was, photographing with the Dragons for a little bit, was as soon as the game ended, photographers packed everything up and left, like, straight away. I mean, I'm not in a position where I'm under pressure, or anything. I don't have to
deliver to like a newspaper or like Wales Online or... Exactly.
And I was a bit shocked. I was like, where are they going, And, in the end, I sent Gareth the full res, Gareth's wife, the full res picture of that. And I said, look, print it out, because it's just, it's just like, I mean, I started off photographing from the stands.
Yeah.
And at the end of the Fiji game a few years ago, against Wales, you had the little kid running across to his dad, and his dad was picking up. I just think I want to capture moments from, the full scale of things, happiness, sadness, everything, and just try and stay true to the values of rugby.
Like, So like, you basically, the principles you learned growing up playing rugby yourself, you're trying to get them through.
Yeah, trying to convey them to people looking at the images or the videos. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, a lot of your photos, you're obviously trying to portray feeling and stuff.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you're trying to move kind of into the video realm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How have you found that?
I found it's breathed a new bit of life into me, to be honest.
Fresh air.
Yeah, exactly. So I was... At first, I started using my iPhone, which is quite decent.
What iPhone was you using?
iPhone 14 Pro Max Plus something.
I think I started out pretty much like doing travel videos when you go away with your missus.
Yeah,
and I was using like an iPhone.
Using like a gimbal or something like that. And I was quite lucky where the Jets play in Merthyr. You can get up quite high. So do a bit of cropping, what have you. And then I just think when you start to, as we said earlier on, when you get into a new passion, I was like, right, what can I do now? So I got a 360 camera.
Right, okay.
Insta360.
I want to get one of them soon.
It's great, but you look a bit silly on a 4-meter selfie stick type thing. So when I was going to games, people were like, sort of, oh, you going fishing, are you? Yeah, that's a funny one, mate. Next one, going fishing, are you, mate? Yeah, that's a funny one. So you look a bit silly, but I remember being with Bryn Mow, and they've been on the scrum machine, and just being able to get under there and move it around, and editing after was great. But then I got a little bit bored with that. So then the next thing was, right, what can I do now? I'll get a drone.
Yeah.
So didn't tell the missus about any of this. Things were just arriving in the post.
Yeah, just like quickly.
Yeah. But I don't go to the pub or drink or anything.
No.
So I got the drone up, and I started seeing the quality of that, and I was like, well, I'm sure rugby analysis and stuff like that use drones. So I was sort of thinking, right, what I can do is get this footage, backs moves, line notes, stuff like that, and I can send it to the coaches, especially when I was doing some stuff with Bargoed, send it to the coaches, and they could see running angles and stuff. Then after that, GoPros then. So never fancied a GoPro. But I thought, right, I can stick that on a referee, and get closer to the action. And fair dues to the referees, they've been amazing. They just, not a problem. You get the odd one, don't get me wrong, but yeah. So then I was getting even closer to the action. So, but I've just bought another GoPro now, where I want to try and hook to the rugby posts.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think I'm going to go over the top at some point.
Have you seen like Ben Foster, the football player?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he does that. He's got a massive like YouTube channel on it, just a GoPro in the bottom corner of his goals when he was playing professional.
Yeah. And you see a lot of people doing it now as well. I mean, with technology, as it is and how it's going to be, I was like, I'll buy another one and put it on the flags, on the side, in the corner, and see some line outs from 5-meter line outs and stuff. But I think, yeah, exactly. So I'm... some places you can't do that. No. I had one, I won't say what club it was, but I had one boy unhook my GoPro and ask in the middle of a game and say, "Is this yours?" And I was like, "Yeah, but put it back up." And I thought he was going to run off with it, and there's no way I'm catching him.
No.
But yeah, so I'm just sort of going into that videographer type thing. For that, it's more about, for me, capturing action. And, I don't want to, I try to, there's been a few fights where I've had the drone up and clubs have said to me, try not to share that.
Oh, I thought they would have said, "Oh, can we have that for
the
WhatsApp group?"
Exactly. I've sent it to them.
Yeah.
But, there are certain moments where there was one guy ran in with a knee and punched a guy, and I was like, I could see why you didn't want me to share that. I'll crop that out. I'll get rid of that. So yeah, I'm just constantly looking at ways to, and this is stuff that TV channels already do. You got sports and stuff. They've got the cash. But one thing I missed out on as a player was, I think I only got one photo of me, and that was me screaming at the ball after I dropped it over the line. So, I think if there's one thing rugby players, male and female, youth and mini, like is photos and videos of scoring a try and stuff like that.
100%.
Yeah, so yeah, I think, most of my cash is going to go on cameras now.
What have you found, not the limitations, but what have you found hard about the video aspect of kind of things away from photography?
I found that I'm taking less photos during a match.
Yeah.
But then people want photos as well. So sometimes people want a bit too much, but I found that keeping an eye on everything has been a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, it's hard because with video, you got one shot. Like in some respects, you can put on burst with a camera and take multiple photos.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I think I've had the drone in the air and, I've been checking on the multiple cameras and I've been like, well, I've just missed, I haven't moved the drone back or I haven't tracked it to the ball and I've just missed a try or something like that. So
the drone battery could literally last like 20
20
minutes.
Yeah.
And then nothing might happen in 20 minutes. It might just be a penalty conversion and that's it. And you just wasted a whole battery.
Exactly. I had a message off a parent actually a few days ago saying, surely you got more drone footage. And I'm like, well, nothing happened in that time. So I've got 2 batteries. I've ordered another one, but I've got 2 batteries and they last 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit frustrating sometimes. And, in Wales with the weather, I've had a drone up and I'm thinking this is going to get soaked.
You see clouds rolling in.
Yeah. So I've, it's been a huge learning curve and I'm just, I just want to, as I said earlier, I just want to capture as much content for players that really want it, really. I'm just really happy at the moment in what I'm doing.
Yeah, because what I've always wanted to do it, but I've never pulled the plug on it, is do like a mini documentary series, maybe like 5 to 10 episodes.
Yeah.
It'd be on Abergavenny, the rugby club.
Yeah.
I've wanted to do like, like they've done with the Wrexham Reynolds thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't have to be that humoured and stuff like that, but I wanted to do like a little documentary series, 5-6 episodes.
Yeah.
And then it'd be quite good to like on presentation night at the end of the season.
Exactly.
You could like do like a 30-minute like best bits episode.
Yeah, like a summary.
I've been dying to do that. I just haven't pulled the plug on it.
I think it's and there's so much history with clubs as well. And if you pick the right club and follow them through the season,
a lot of time and commitments.
And I don't think, like for me, I've thought about doing something similar, but then I don't think I like the variety of doing things. And especially, like a club with Abergavenny, a hometown club as well.
Yeah, that's mainly the
and there's a few characters there. There's a few funny guys there. But yeah, I just think if you pick the right club with the history and stuff, but it's one thing I hate is when I'm videoing every now and again, like I'll be doing, and they just stare at the camera. Some players go into a bit of shock, they're like just looking at me. But, that's my only sort of, I go, just look away, But yeah, I think if you pick the right club and just, I think I'd be so interesting to do, and there's a lot.
It takes so many man hours to actually tell a story of a club season.
Yeah.
Obviously you can't go to every game. No. You can't go to every training session. You can't get the highs and the lows, and you some way have to portray that and tell that story regardless.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to sort of follow a club who are awful. They're in the bottom of the leagues in Wales, and I remember playing.
They come up really well, or just awful throughout the whole season?
Just sort of, and they win that first game. I don't know what it is. Everyone loves an underdog, you know.
Go Crumlin.
Yeah, exactly. I remember Crumlin, you know, we didn't win a game.
Shade on Crumlin.
And they're doing so well now. The treble winners last season, and
nice.
they're promoted. But, you know, we didn't win for ages. I had 7 players at maximum training. But when we won that one game, relegated, when we won that one game, I've never been as drunk as that. It was crazy, you know. So, yeah, I think there's a lot in Welsh rugby you could do.
Obviously there's no budget there, especially within the club levels, but obviously if you were to put together a good piece and someone was able to see it, then that's your foot in the door. Exactly.
And as I said, there's just so many characters as well. Like some of the stories over the years.
If people aren't in like the Wales rugby club scene, you get introduced to it for the first time. Yeah, you get some boys, especially if you go from like, if I speak about Abergavenny, but then you go up to like the valleys, all those characters are twice as loud or 3 times.
Even
as loud.
the Jets, you know, when I went to the Jets, I just some of the stories you've heard and stuff, and some of the stuff that's gone on, just brilliant. You know, some of it you can't repeat, obviously, but but it's just like that for me. Like over the stuff I'm doing, one of the highlights has been with the Jets. But the thing is, as well, you know, is just by this short time that I've been doing rugby photography, you know, the rugby photographer, I, like, for example, next year I'm working with Cook Islands, touch rugby.
Oh, lovely.
I'm not going there, which is unfortunate.
You'll get there.
Yeah, but in Nottingham at the World Cup in Nottingham.
Oh, lovely, yeah.
So I just...
So how did you get that? Or?
So I saw that they were struggling a little bit, and I was looking for a team.
Social media presence and stuff like that.
So I thought, right, I really want to go as an ex-touch player and stuff. I really want to go, because it's only Nottingham as well. So I really want to go and cover a team or two. So I messaged Wales Touch, and I was like, you know, I'd love to do some stuff for you, blah, blah, blah. They left me on scene, and I was like, oh, right, okay. Then I messaged him again and said, look, I'd love to do some stuff. And I know there's a few photographers there. Howard Goldberg, who's brilliant at sports photography. But I said, I'd like to do some video, you know, follow all your teams, your categories. Nothing. So I was like, okay. So I put a post on Touch Forum, and Cook Islands got in touch.
Oh, lovely.
And I was like, right, okay, you're the underdog. You're going to be the underdog. I'll come with you. So
it's not even about shooting the best team or one of the top 5. It's about being there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
As a photographer and being part of the whole experience, regardless whether you're going with your home country or not.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't care if I got invited to the World Cup and I was shooting like Samoa or Tonga or something.
Imagine how amazing that would be. So I'm going to go with Cook Islands next year. And I was a bit disappointed Wales didn't even reply. But then things happen for a reason, you know. I'm sure at some point I'll do some stuff with...
Well, Cook Islands is not far from New Zealand and stuff like that.
So maybe New Zealand will see
go on then, we'll have him.
But yeah, especially with the 360 camera in touch, you know, it's going to be... And the drone. It's going to be some amazing footage. So it's funny how certain things open doors to other things, you know, just by doing stuff for free as well. So,
that's true.
You know,
So like the video stuff, are you going to try and push to maybe make a documentary of any sort, or are you just trying to just gather clips really just to put out on social?
I would like to. Like I was talking to a couple of guys from Hartridge about this, you know, because Hartridge got a bit of a history behind them.
Hartridge rings a bell. That's where I played them. Where are they based?
Yeah, they're near Lamworm. Just down the road from Lamworm.
Newport.
Yeah, Newport.
Yeah, I know.
And, you know, I was sort of, you know, they struggled with funding for so long and they're doing really well now. And I was talking to a couple of guys there and they were like, they mentioned a documentary to me. I mean, at the moment, it's a time thing at the moment, all the hours you've got to put in, as you said.
Oh, but it's...
Yeah, and it's as you said, you can't make everything. I try to make so many training sessions, you know, and I just can't do it. But yeah, I think I'd like to further down the line. Even if it's, you know, when I work with the Cook Islands over 5 or 6 days next year. I'd like to. I mean, now I've had that taste as well with Head for Change, you know, with the Sky documentary. You know, and my kids think I'm a superstar, even though I was just in the background, you know, an awful angle with my my double chin.
Just take that, but it's good being part of the production for that.
Exactly, and
much experience you get.
Yeah, I learned a lot from that, and so I think I'd like to do something, but it's just waiting for the right thing to come along, I think. But I'm hooked on videography now, which I never thought I would be.
So what kind of camera are you looking? Have you looked to purchase a camera, like a video camera of any
I haven't
sort?
yet.
No.
Mainly because I can't afford it. In my eyes, if I look at it, I'm gonna get it. Whether it's like a finance thing, and I can't afford that at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah. So there's a few things I've looked at, but I've had the same two cameras since the Canon PowerShot thing I had, after I got rid of that. So I don't know. I'm not very up to date with equipment. I'm not like, when I want something and I've got the cash there, then I'll look for it and get it. But yeah, as I said, I got the same two cameras, same lenses I've had for 4 or 5 years.
They're the Nikons and the
50 Nikon D50-200 and D70-100.
And then you got what, 50 mil?
50 mil, just a kit lens with it, but I've got a 600 millimeter, but again, in low light, it's not the best.
No.
So, but I've got to take care of my equipment as well, because I'm, as you sort of like, you're doing rugby and stuff, and I'm throwing everything in a bag and everything's smashing against each other. And I went to take a picture the other day, rugby, and the battery fell out of the bottom. I was looking for the battery for ages,
just in the mud or in the middle of a scrum.
Honestly, it's like a comedy. If you watched me photographing a rugby and a video in a rugby match, my equipment's over the floor. I'm on my knees. I'm covered in mud. So yeah, it's when I get the cash, that's then when I'll settle down and think.
What do you think your first purchase? Do you think you'll stay with a Nikon line, or do you think you'll go Canon? Or
I think I will stay with Nikon, just because that's when I really learned was on Nikon, and it's just routine for me. It's just like it's structured. I know where everything is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ADHD as well, and I feel like when I have something that's there and I know how to work, I don't really want to change from it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But yeah, it just, I love Nikon, that's the thing. And there's no particular reason why.
No, just what you started off on.
It's just I know where everything is, know, and yeah, so if I had the cash, I think I'd just go mental on things, to be honest.
That's the issue. You're always trying to constantly update your equipment list, and then once you got the newest thing out, give it 6 months, the best things around the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a constant revolving door.
Exactly.
So I bet since you bought your drone, they've released like 3 or 4
they've released
newer ones
stuff
on top.
Exactly. I mean, I borrowed a drone at first from a mate, thinking, am I really going to want this?
Was it a DJI or you?
No, it was a. To be honest, it wasn't the best quality at all.
Because the thing is, if you don't go DJI, you just like when people say, "Oh yeah, I bought a drone." I've had a couple of people. I bought a drone. When you come and help me show me how to use it, and I say, "What company is it?"
Yeah,
and if it doesn't say DJI, I'm like, well, there's no point.
No, exactly.
You're literally wasting your time. I'd literally pack it up. I got it off Amazon for like £100. Yeah, pack it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it in the loft.
That's the thing. I mean, I borrowed that drone and it had no sensors on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I thought I was the next big thing. I was going around the rugby pitch at Crumlin and they were playing Betis Newport.
Yeah.
And I was a scrum 5. I brought the drone back and I hit the rugby post and it fell down. It was like a walk of shame. I walked on. I went, sorry. I just walked back off. And all 30 players were just staring at me. So, yeah, the DJI drone is just, I just love it. Like, it's
good bit of
and, not just for that, you're doing landscape and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I bought a Mini 3. I've got a couple of others, but I bought a Mini 3 purposely to take to Italy with me.
Yeah.
Because of the grams.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Not the bags of grams, but literally how many grams the drone weighed. Because obviously EU laws and...
Exactly.
With the 149, obviously the minis are.
Yeah.
Obviously you need to register it or whatever, but it's still classed as a toy, so it's
exactly.
You get a lot of weight.
And I just sort of, but then I was quite naive when I first got it. I thought, well, I can fly this now over the Millennium Stadium. It's fine, but you can't. No. I was, and I've taken it out quite a bit. I do like those photos and video of grounds when they're training. You got the lights on and you can just chuck it up in the air. You know. I like that, and I'm going to. I was thinking about taking it to Paris because I'm going there the day before the World Cup just to soak up the atmosphere and do some video, do some photography. And I was like, right, said to the missus, I'm going to put it up in the air, quite a bit away from Stade de France. And then I looked it up and it was like €70,000 fine. So I was like, yeah, I'll keep that at home.
Yeah, leave
that there.
Leave
yeah. So yeah, there's so much you can do. And as I said, technology is just advancing so quickly, So yeah, I'm interested to see where things go in the future.
What kind of software are you editing on in regards to your photos? Let's start there first.
Lightroom.
Lightroom,
I used to do Photoshop a little bit, but then especially during the self-portraits. But now I just think I'm very basic with my editing. Black and white. You go black and white, perhaps a bit of vibrance or saturation, but yeah, Lightroom is my main go-to thing. Again, just like the Nikon camera for me, it's just basic, it's routine, it's structured. So yeah.
And what settings are you using when you're taking your photos? Do you go quite high shutter speeds, obviously, because I imagine obviously there's a lot of blur, like motion blur in sports.
And I never realized until I was doing rugby photography how handy that ISO is. I just, because whether I'm doing a wedding or something like that, I'll have a speed light and stuff. But yeah, as long as it's, a quite high shutter speed.
Were you talking 200 upwards or like 400?
400, yeah, over 400,
Okay.
And I suppose it depends what kind of shot you're going for. But yeah, so I try to, bring the ISO up a little bit. And for me, you get a feel, don't you? You get a feel for it. And, you get a feel for what you want your f-stop to be and all that stuff. So, it depends what I'm trying to. What I love is when it's raining, so I whack the ISO up. You get the rain around the players and stuff, So yeah, and when it comes to the theory of cameras and all this different stuff, I just do it all by feel.
Yeah.
And if it feels right, I'll take a picture. Then it's once you get the hang of it, it's not that hard to understand. No. I feel. So yeah, that's where I get a feel for it.
And then what's kind of like your goals moving forward? What I seen actually, park that question. I seen that on your Instagram you had a portrait of Shane Williams. Did you take that?
Yeah, Shane. So so when I walked away from that publishing contract, he was one of the guys I was photographing. I come to realize that I was photographing a lot of rugby players at the time. So Shane Williams is just, you hear stories about people, and he is a legend, speakers I find, he was a legend. He's lovely
stuff.
And I took this photo, and some people say he looks a bit grumpy, but I don't usually like smiley photos.
You like serious.
Yeah. So I took this photo, took a few photos outside, said hello to his family, and he shared the picture, and that was it. So I'm very lucky. I mean, I know I walked away from that publishing contract, and some people sort of thought, well, why? You did 2 COVID books, but I just had enough of that.
Do you have to pay to be in the book, or the publishers pay on your behalf, or how does that work?
No,
I don't know anything about any of that.
Yeah, so with the first 2 books, it was a case of I was raising money for NHS charities.
Right.
With the 3rd book, because they were doing so well, I pitched this book to the publishing company and said, look, there's a lot of people, interesting people that I photographed already, but that I can't photograph, and they wanted like celebrities, Gareth Bale.
They wanted like the big
Real Madrid at the time.
Yeah,
I was like, Gareth, come on, if you can give me a hand, but take a big picture, that'd be great.
you got Wales 7's touch not responding to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Gareth Bale's gonna respond to your DMs.
Exactly. So I was like, that's not going to work. So I photographed the gentleman in Carmarthen who was on the street. He was the playing instrument busker.
Yeah,
that wasn't good enough. But I was like, well, that's what I want to do. So I basically, it was a case of contacting people, saying, this is what I'm doing. Like I've done before, I'm going to give money to like homeless shelters or whatever really that we agree on. And Shane didn't ask for a penny.
Oh, lovely.
I said, this is what I want to do. And And there was a lot of people like I was due.
So you literally went to Shane and said, "Look, I'm filming. I'm shooting this.
Doing this book."
Release,
and that's the thing, because I've met him a few times. I had to change. It was a lot easier then to approach him. I photographed Alex for it, Alex Popham, and I was due to photograph quite a few people. Schaefer, I was going to photograph through his sister again. Who you know. Yeah. Hugh Edwards, a newsreader, I was going to photograph. But there was a lot of people, well-known people I was going to photograph. But then I just thought, I'm not happy here. I'm not happy.
It's not your
doing
thing.
This, no.
Didn't want to do
it. And that part, even though I might go back to it at some point, I was just like, another book, I've got to promote it with a load of stuff.
Yeah.
I already found the COVID stuff massively overwhelming, and it nearly ruined my life, the whole COVID, for a lot of people, don't get me wrong, but like, I just, I found that really difficult. And I just thought, you know what, I said to the missus, right, I'm not happy. I'm walking away, really. So, so the people I was going to photograph, of course, out of, being polite, I contacted them and said, look, I'm not going to be doing it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Just amazing. I don't know one person that's had an issue or that has wanted to charge or anything for taking their photo.
Yeah, especially
really lucky.
For charity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, come along.
Yeah, exactly. And and you had some people sort of contacted me and they couldn't do it, and they were like, but thank you very much. Being really polite.
I appreciate you getting in touch. Yeah.
And there's been a lot of people I was going to photograph, but then it would be wrong of me. Like, don't get me wrong, I do a lot for charity anyway through different things, but at the same time, I don't want to be photographing people when I don't even want to be. I didn't want to be there either. I didn't want to do things. So for once, I thought, I'm going to do something for me now.
Yeah.
Then the rugby league season started, and that was it. I spent a load of money on drones and cameras and stuff.
So that leads me on nicely. What are your aims and goals for the foreseeable future?
I want to I'm slowly building a sort of social media.
Because I've known about your social for a long time, really, until I got this podcast up and going. I thought, rugby. I love rugby.
Yeah.
You like photography.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Great guest to get on.
Yeah.
Get him on. Do you know what I mean?
And, I'm building a sort of an audience on social media, especially Instagram. And I just want to keep enjoying what I'm doing and trying to capture the best footage and photos that I can. I like the thought of a documentary. When I
maybe
feel
we can join forces.
Yeah, awesome. Maybe next season and stuff, doing things. But I think I said to the missus, and I know, it's 2003 and the next World Cup is 2027. But I said to the missus, I'd love to go to the next World Cup, and I don't mean like, obviously not
as a spectator. You want to go as a paid professional.
Yeah, and I want to go there. I don't care who it's for. I don't care if they just say, right, here's some accommodation and your flight.
Yeah, you just go for the group stages.
Exactly.
Because I know one gentleman, he's like social. He does social for WIU, just going for the group stages. But I'm still like sick.
Exactly, and I just, I've got a job. I pay into a pension and stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, I want to experience as much as rugby as I can.
Yeah.
So I want to go to the World Cup and, sometimes get it from a supporter's perspective as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I have to be like linked with a team or anything. I'd work with the referees, I'm happy. But yeah, I'd like to go to that. And I think it's in Australia, I think. And I just want to experience not just the things I experienced as a player, playing amateur and that.
Yes.
I want to experience as much as the game as possible. And, I have got links now where I can do a few more, mix it up and do some training videos for kicking and stuff like that. But yeah, I just want to get to that World Cup. And
I've got high expectations. I reckon you'll do it.
I hope so. That would be nice.
That would be a great, especially since obviously you got past in rugby.
Yeah,
fulfill your dream. That's how I see it. You fulfill your dream, maybe not for actually wearing the boots on the field, but through the camera that obviously you might be able to do. If people want to follow you, where can they find you?
The Rugby Photographer on Instagram, all socials really, Twitter, Facebook, and got a website as well, which is being updated every weekly really. And I respond quite quickly to messages and stuff. So
that's great. So I'd just like to say thank you very much for coming on. We've blasted through pretty much 50 minutes, an hour already.
Oh, happy days. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Have a good day.
And you, mate.
Cheers. Bye now.